there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. Today we're going to be spreading happiness with a bright and a cheerful card. So to start with, I'm going to be using the Quaint Blooms stamp set, and I'm just going to be using this little flower that we have. I have stamped that onto some Classic Crest Solar White using some permanent black ink. I have let that dry, or you could use your heat tool to dry it as well. So I have stamped 7 of the little flowers, and I'm going to colour these using some really bright colours of the artist markers. So to start with, I'm going to use some Rubellite, and as you can see, I'm just going to add that darkest colour, so the Rubellite, to the very base of the petal. I'm just kind of flicking that out towards the edge, and I'm only going a very short distance to add that really dark colour just to the centre point. Once I've done that, I can then go over with some Pinkalicious. So this is a very bright pink that we have here. And I'm just going further up that petal. I am going over the one that I've just done, so that darker colour, and that will blend that out slightly. So once I have kind of done all of the petals, all the way up to that little circular bit on the petal, I'm then going to take the lightest colour, and this one is the Pink Diamond, and this is going to kind of blend everything together. So I'm going over the whole petal with this just in a normal colouring fashion, just to blend all of those colours together and add that really brilliant pink to the whole of the petal. So once I've done this one, I'm then going to move on to 2 more using the exact same colours and the same technique. So what I'm doing is I'm adding that darkest colour in first at the base of the petal where it's going to be the darkest. I'm then going to take the Pinkalicious and bring that colour out to nearly the whole of the petal, and then finish that off with the Pink Diamond to blend everything together and add the pink colour all the way over these beautiful petals. So once I have done that, I'm then going to move on to some beautiful Lagoony aqua colours. So I am going to use the very pretty Lagoon colour just at the base of those petals. So we are using the same technique as before. So we're going to use 3 markers for this. Then once I've done the Lagoon, I'm then going to pull that colour out using the very pretty Volcano Lake, one of my very, very favourites. So I'm just going to finish that one off there. And then I'm going to pull all those colours together using the Mountain Mist. So this is going to blend all of those little lines out that you may have, and also add the colour all the way over the petals. So once I have finished this flower here, I then went ahead and I did another flower in the same colours. So the very pretty Lagoon for the base, then the Volcano Lake, and then the Mountain Mist. So once I have done that, I'm then going to move on to some oranges. So again, same kind of technique as before. So for the base of the petal, I'm going to be using the Autumn Blaze marker. So this is a really dark, vibrant orange. I'm then going to move on to the Orange Cream, again pulling that colour out, going over what we've already done and blending things together, but creating a really great gradient on here. And then once I've done that, I'm then going to move on to the Sunkiss. So this is the lightest of the oranges that I have, and that'll pull all the colours together, make really beautiful kind of seamless blending as well. So I'm just going to keep going with that one until all of the petals are done. Once I have finished this flower, I then went ahead and did the last flower in exactly the same colours. So I have the Autumn Blaze for that base, then I have the Orange Cream, and then the Sunkissed to pull those all together. Once that's done, I'm then going to add some of the colours to the centres. So I'm adding the little rings on some of the flowers with the Autumn Blaze as well as the centres. The same for the Rubellite. I'm kind of mixing the colours around on all of the flowers. And then once I have finished with the Rubellite, I'm then going to move on to the Lagoon to add in a ring and some of the circles to the other flowers. Once that's done, I then went ahead and just added the lightest colour of the flower petal that I used to pull the colours out to the other centre circle that we have there. Once I finish with the flowers, I'm then going to move on to the leaves, and I'm just going to be doing exactly the same technique as before. So I'm going to add the really dark part of the leaf, so that's going to be at the base where the flower petals are covering it, and I'm going to be doing that using the moss marker. I'm then going to move on to the parrot marker to pull that colour out, and then to blend I'm going to be using the very pretty bamboo marker to give us that really bright, vibrant leaf colour there. So once I have finished with those, I then wanted to add a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to take the woodless colouring pencils from Altenew, and I'm just going to take one of the pencils that's the closest to the kind of inside colour that I have, and I'm just going to add a few little flicks using this to the flowers themselves, just from the base of the petal and kind of flicking outwards. You may not think that it's going to make a big difference, but I do find this adds a lot of interest just by adding a couple of extra lines just to that flower center, and it's going to really add a lot of depth and shade too. So I've used the really bright pink for the flower, and then the darker turquoisey colour for the aqua flower, and then I'm just going to use a really dark orange for that orange flower there. Once all of the flowers are complete, I then added some of the pencil. I think this one is the Shadow Creek to the leaves, just where that base is, just to add that really dark kind of contrast to the leaves, and I think it looks very, very pretty. I'm then going to take the die that coordinates with this really small flower, and I'm just going to die cut all of those images. If you don't have the die, you can quickly and easily kind of fussy cut these out, or maybe spend a little bit of relaxing time cutting around these. I do find that I like a little bit of fussy cutting as well as the dies, so whichever you do have. I'm then taking a piece of white cardstock, so this is 4 by 5¼ inches, so it's slightly smaller than a card base, and I'm going to place my flowers into position. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to take some press and seal, and I'm just going to pick all of those little images up so I can keep them in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the little press and seal, and I'm going to add some beautiful yellow shading behind. I'm using the chamomile ink and a small blending tool just to have that colour kind of radiating out from behind the flowers. Once that's done, I wanted to add a little bit of added interest to this background, so I'm using the Diamond Stars 3D embossing folder, and I'm just going to emboss that piece. Once that's done, I'm going to add some foam tape behind the panel, and then add the panel onto a 4¼ by 5½ white card base. Now, once that's done, I'm going to add some more foam tape. Yeah, there's going to be lots of dimension in this card, and I'm just going to add that behind those flowers which are still attached to the press and seal. I can then remove the backing and then place the whole piece into place onto my card base and press that down. For the sentiment, I'm going to be using the Colourful Soul stamp set, and I'm going to be using the Spread Happiness sentiment from here. I'm going to stamp this into place onto some white cardstock, just using some obsidian ink. So as the obsidian is a pigment ink, we can use this for heat embossing. I'm just going to add some crystal clear embossing powder over that and heat set. I can then take the coordinating die for the sentiment and then die cut that out. I just love how this looks. So once that's done, I'm going to pop that into place, add a little bit of foam tape behind, just in the center where the flowers are not, and then I can pop that into place, making sure that everything's nicely lined up before I press that down. And here is the card complete. I really do hope that you like the card and that you've enjoyed the video as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share, because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we truly do hope that you have a beautiful day. We'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.